This is the Fox 5 News Block.
Well, next on the News Block, a New York State trooper pleading not guilty to charges of falsely reporting a crime after prosecutors say he shot himself and then lied about it. Plus, immigration battles popping up around the country days after President Trump's executive orders to begin deportations, one of them involving Colombia. Good afternoon, I'm Bianca Peters. Welcome to the News Block. Those stories in just a moment, but first, here's a live look outside right now. You see some of that sun peeking through, but Nick Gregory, first look at the forecast right now. The sun there, however, the warmth, not so much.
So better though than recent days, right? Because
Yes.
we are seeing temperatures at that 40-degree mark right now. So Bianca, that's not really too bad. Pretty seasonal for this time of the year. Average high should be 39. We're in the upper 30s in the Hudson Valley. Across the island, 42 there, Newark on down to Belmar. And again, it is a beautiful sunny day, but we're just slightly colder than we were yesterday at this time in most of the area. Yeah, 2 to 4 degrees or so. Wind is a little breezy at times, mostly southwesterly now. It's averaging about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but the gusts are going to start picking up. And tonight, those gusts are going to hit 30. And tomorrow, those gusts may get close to 40 miles per hour as a rather windy day is on tap. But it's, again, just some cloud cover will move down as the system kind of pinwheels down. And it might kick off a snow shower tomorrow morning. You'll see that here in our futurecast, particularly north of town. Here's 7 a.m. or so, again, in the 30-degree range in the colder suburbs to the north. And again, maybe some upper 20s there and about lower 30s in Midtown. Here's that possibility of a couple of snow showers. Really, it's the wind blasting through here tomorrow. And slightly colder day, upper 30s, but again, that's really seasonal now for this time of the year. It's still a bit windy tomorrow night, and another round of snow showers may come down tomorrow night on into Wednesday morning. Again, the best chance up to the north, where temperatures there will be in the low and middle 20s to again about 30 or so in Midtown. And then as we head into Wednesday, again, still a bit windy at times, sort of a combination of clouds and sun, and temperatures kind of holding themselves again on into the middle 30s. Again, fairly seasonal, but at least it's not that brutal cold air that we had most recently. Bianca.
Thanks so much. Well, now to the very latest on immigration. An international standoff between the U.S. and Colombia regarding immigration largely resolved today. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini has been following that and other developing details on the Trump administration's deportation. Stephanie.
Hey, Bianca, good afternoon. The standoff between Colombia and the United States over deportation flights, the White House claiming victory, which serves as an example of what other nations may face if they try to interfere with the administration's mass deportation plans. It was a tense weekend. Colombia refused to accept flights of deported migrants from the U.S. In response, President Trump promised steep tariffs and other sanctions. Colombia, a longtime partner of the United States, especially in anti-narcotic efforts, pushed back. Colombian President Gustavo Petro accused President Trump of not treating migrants with dignity during deportation. He rejected 2 Colombia-bound U.S. military aircrafts carrying migrants over the weekend. The president of Colombia has now backed down and will be accepting such flights. We started to see the use of deportation flights last week during the president's first week in the Oval Office. This is video coming out of Colorado over the weekend. The Drug Enforcement Administration took dozens of people into custody during a crackdown, the feds say, on a Venezuelan gang. And in Illinois, top Trump administration officials were in Chicago yesterday executing an illegal immigration operation. The show of force consistent with raids we're seeing in cities across the nation, including in sanctuary cities. The Trump administration has vowed to crack down on immigration, on those in the country unauthorized, and on foreign criminals, while also making moves to place more security at the southern border. The president has promised to deport millions. Here at home, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman showing full support of the new administration. In a statement, Nassau County police and sheriff's deputies are fully cooperating with ICE and other federal agencies to round up illegal immigrants, starting with the worst first. We're also seeing pushback. Just hours ago, elected officials in Patterson stood with humanitarians in a press conference expressing concern about increased ICE activity, they say. And also just hours ago, the New York Immigration Coalition held a press conference detailing immense fear in migrant communities. Bianca, we're following this.
All right, Steph, thanks so much for staying on top of that. Meanwhile, the New York State trooper who said that he was shot during a traffic stop on Long Island has turned himself into police. Prosecutors say Thomas Mascia was actually shot by himself and lied about it. He and his parents now facing charges, and his parents, Dorothy and Thomas Sr., turned themselves in this morning. Now, according to prosecutors, Thomas Jr. drove to Hempstead's Lake Park, where he allegedly shot himself and then called for backup, saying that he was shot by a man driving a dark Charger.
Thomas, anything you have to say? Did you shoot yourself that day? Why did you do it?
Can't say anything right now, I'm sorry.
You entered a plea of not guilty for all three of your clients, is that correct?
Prosecutors say Mascia's gun was found at his parents' home, and as you heard there, their attorney entered a non-guilty plea for all three of them. They're due back in court on February 5th. Meanwhile, police have released a new video of the suspect accused of trying to rape a woman in Queens. Investigators say the suspect attacked the 32-year-old victim on 94th Street in Flushing early Friday morning. That woman was taken to an area hospital in stable condition. The suspect, however, took off. If you recognize him at all, please call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS. And we're also searching for the suspect accused of stabbing a man on a northbound 5 train in the Bronx. This happened at around 11 a.m. yesterday in the Mott Haven section. Police say the man repeatedly stabbed the 25-year-old victim and then ran off when the train stopped at the East 149th Street and Grand Concourse station. The victim was hospitalized in stable condition. Over to the Middle East now. Leaders in the region are balking at President Trump's suggestion that the Palestinian population of Gaza move to Jordan and Egypt. Fox's Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv.
The fragile ceasefire in Gaza now enters its second week, and it's going well so far. Over the weekend, 4 female Israeli soldiers were released by Hamas in exchange for about 200 Palestinian prisoners. But President Trump has been expressing doubts about whether the ceasefire will hold. And on Saturday, he suggested Jordan and Egypt absorb nearly the entire Palestinian population of Gaza, allowing Israelis to, quote, clean out the whole thing. That suggestion was a non-starter for Hamas.
These remarks are very strange. The Palestinian people who paid with their blood in exchange for their steadfastness on their land will not leave the Gaza Strip.
And officials in Jordan and Egypt both say a large-scale resettlement like that would create major security risks.
Keeping the Palestinians on their land is a Jordanian constant that will not change. Our rejection of displacement is a constant and will not change.
The Gazans themselves are also showing no signs they want to leave. On Monday, Israel allowed displaced civilians to return to northern Gaza for the first time in more than a year. Almost immediately, thousands began the journey, most on foot. Many came home to little more than dust and debris, but they say they're determined to stay on their land and rebuild.
My feeling, thank God, is that I am strong and we will continue our struggle regardless of the destruction. We will continue.
Meanwhile, further north, the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon has been extended to February 18th. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Meanwhile, vandalism at an Israeli restaurant in Brooklyn is being called an outright act of anti-Semitism. This red graffiti was written outside of Miriam, and Fox 5's Kendall Green has a story.
The NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating a case of vandalism at Miriam Restaurant overnight. After officers learned around 3 a.m., vandals painted offensive messages in red paint onto the windows of the Park Slope restaurant. The 2 messages read, "Genocide cuisine in Israel steals culture," as the owner takes those messages personal.
Don't understand why that's the approach to change things.
Raphael Hasid is from Israel, and his mother, the restaurant's namesake, still lives in Israel. Surveillance video he gave us shows what appears to be 3 individuals involved in the act, where one person is seen as if he or she was painting the windows, as the other 2 stood guard and watched. As the investigation ramps up, support from friends, patrons, and politicians ramps up with it.
To vandalize a restaurant because the owner is Jewish is outright anti-Semitism, plain and simple. It's outrageous and despicable.
Mayor Adams also called the act despicable, saying, quote, "As mayor of the city with the largest Jewish population outside of Israel, I am particularly heartbroken by this evil act." And this isn't the first time it's happened. The first was on the Upper West Side.
We had the same type of incident, different graffiti, but around the same, front and size of the restaurant. And even then, when we were pretty new in the Upper West Side.
The vandalism this time serves as a teachable moment for this father and daughter visiting the restaurant. Hopeful their presence less than 24 hours later sends a message of resilience following the act.
If you look on the Instagram of this restaurant, they put out a message of love and a message of unity. We looked at that together with my other daughter.
I wanted to show that we are here to support and to love, and this is what the city is about.
Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
Meanwhile, Mayor Adams is limiting his public schedule this week. His office says that he's not been feeling well the past few days and will have a number of doctor's appointments and routine medical tests. City Hall did not provide any additional information about the mayor's health, but his aides say that he plans to continue to work, but will avoid interacting with the public while he recovers. Meanwhile, on Wall Street, the popularity of a new Chinese startup company sending U.S. stocks tumbling today. The S&P 500 fell 1.6%, the Dow dipped 0.3%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ down 2.7% at today's opening. The Chinese AI company DeepSeek says it has developed a large language model that can compete with U.S. AI programs like ChatGPT at a fraction of the cost. The S&P and NASDAQ are still down at this hour. All right, let's take a live look outside right now on this Monday. We're going to turn things over to meteorologist Nick Gregory for a look at the forecast. Hey, Nick.
Hi there, Bianca. Our forecast, as you saw, looking pretty good. Same thing to verify here in the satellite photograph. We've got nothing really going on. A little weak disturbance drops down from the northwest overnight. Might bring a couple of snow showers. You'll see that here in our futurecast. Nothing really dramatic again as that system kind of moves along. And those snow shower threat mostly north of town first part of tomorrow morning. Then it's a windy day as temperatures get back into the upper 30s to about 40. And again, another system may bring some snow showers as we head on in towards Wednesday, particularly again north of city in the morning. And once again, you can see the streaks in the clouds indicating Wednesday will end up being a windy day. Going down to 30 in town tonight, 20s in the burbs. Again, with the wind kind of gusty out of the west-southwest, 15 gusting 30. Tomorrow it's sun and clouds. Maybe get a little snow shower first part of the morning. And then that snow shower threat again Wednesday morning, mostly up north, otherwise 45. Sunday sunny, Thursday I should say 34. Some rain for Friday in the 40s and another chance of some rain snow mix by the time we get to Sunday. Bianca?
All right, Nick, thanks so much. And also today, a full-scale recreation of Anne Frank's hiding place open in New York City. This marks the first time the Anne Frank House is representing and this immersive exhibit outside of Amsterdam for all of us New Yorkers. For a limited time, visitors at the Center for Jewish History right near Union Square, they're going to get a first-hand look at where the Frank family hid from the Nazis for 2 years. More than 100 original collection items will be on display, along with artifacts that have never been presented to the public before. This exhibit runs through April 30th. Well, that's your news block for now. Bianca Peters, thanks for joining us. Tune in to the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local for all the day's news as it develops. We'll see you back here tomorrow.